Can you hear me out there?
Whether they want to.
Okay. Let's go ahead and start this meeting. We're going to start off with the flag salute. And Cynthia, would you like to lead us?
Please. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So two more they set.
All right. We're going to try to get through our meeting in the quickest possible time, which means that we try to get out of here by 8:30, no later than 8:30. We have a really great presentation today, and I'm so happy to see some of the participants. Thank you for being here. Okay. All right. Thank you. So why don't we go ahead and take roll?
Okay, Leila Aguilar. You heard anything?
I think she told us at the meeting at the youth and now she wasn't going to be here.
Well, she didn't tell us for this meeting.
No, that she was at the youth and now, but she wasn't
I
going to be
know.
at
She needs to notify the right people here.
Yes, I know.
So, for purposes of this, he's unexcused. John Barbera.
Yes.
Vic Christensen, here. John DeMiglio. Here. Larry Eaton.
Here.
Craig Goldfarb is excused. Cynthia Gagne.
Here.
Gwen Henry.
Present.
Melanie Lebrecht.
Here.
Kelly Miller.
Here.
Abby Norman. Thomas Norman.
Present.
Ray Regalado.
Here.
Michael Signorelli.
Here.
Adam Stevenson.
Here.
Angela Sumner. And Chris Valle is excused. So we've got 14. That is
All
correct.
right. Good. All right. We're going to go ahead and move on to agenda item number 2, which is general public comment.
One more item.
Oh, that's right. Yes, please. Thank you.
And just especially for our new member, and it is in the bylaws, so you'll see it there. If you are going to be, if you know you're going to be out, then you need to notify, I believe it's the president, vice president, or other designated person, which is de facto me, because I'm the one who's taking roll and everything. So ahead of time, not after the fact. So just want to let everybody know about that as a refresher for those who have been here a while and just to remind you. And as long as we're on this sort of thing, you have 2 out of 3 trainings done. One of those is funding, so you will be able to vote on funding matters, but you need to get the other one done by the next meeting, which is the 60-day point.
No funding this time. Not unless he has everything done.
Okay.
There's a grace period. All right. Deal with that later.
We good? We ready? All right.
That may change.
So now we'll move on to general public comment, agenda item number 2. I have 3 requests for general comment. If there's anyone here that has a need to make general public comment on a non-agenda item, there are sign-up cards in the back. So we're going to start. I'll call them in the order in which I received them. So our first person to do that will be Diana Nate.
Thank you. Good evening. I actually just have a couple of announcements. The first announcements have to do with the Friends of Peck Park Canyon. March 20th will be the next walk, and March 23rd will be the next nature walk. Those are both at 9 a.m., and they leave from the lower parking lot. March 30th, we'll be doing another maintenance day in the area that we planted. You may recall that the Neighborhood Council gave the group funds to do some native plants. And so on March 30th, we'll be doing a maintenance day to get in and maybe do some more planting and weeding. Then on behalf of Feed and Be Fed, I wanted to announce that April 20th, they'll be doing an Eco Fair at the Garden on 6th Street. But as part of that Eco Fair, there's going to be an art contest with prizes for first, second, and third place, cash prizes for youth in elementary, middle school, and high school. I sent the flyer to Christina today so she could put it on our website, and then we can circulate it. So they'll be looking for youth to submit art. So I would, if you know any young people, I would certainly encourage them to consider submitting. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Next, I have two requests from the same individual, two different subjects. So I want to go ahead and Gwen, as a stakeholder.
Also, another announcement for Peck Park on the same day that the Friends of Peck Park will be doing the plantings and weeding and restoration of the hill. Later that day, from noon to 2 o'clock, will be the spring egg hunt. And that's great for all ages. There's the flyers out front. But anyone who wants to volunteer, again, it's for public service. You can get public service hours. Talk to the staff over there in the office. Michael Signorelli, who happens to be also on the board, happens to also be one of the members of Peck Park. So feel free to do that. They always could use volunteers for the building of the games and the pop-ups and everything. And it's a lot of fun. Thank you. The next one is about, I'm hoping that the board will consider adding with the Pledge of Allegiance an acknowledgement of the land. Of course, we are here on the Tongva, Gabrielino, Shumash, and possibly the Ajuchimin. Sorry, I might be mingling that. But I believe that would be good for the beginnings of committees as well as the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to the end of our public comments. So we're going to go ahead and close out that agenda item and move on to agenda item number 2, which is our presentation today. Today we have a presentation by the Crisis and Incident Response through Community-Led Engagement, the CIRCLE program, and Shannon Pryor. Would you like to start us off?
Hello. I do have a presentation. I don't know if it can be thrown.
Pull the mic down.
I'm sorry.
Pull the mic down to talk.
I do have a presentation. I don't know if it can be thrown up on the... yes. Thank you. Hello. Good evening. Thank you so much for inviting me here. My name is Shannon Pryor. I'm at the Mayor's Office of Community Safety. I'm also here with my colleague, James Hegler, who's the program director for with Urban Alchemy, who's our nonprofit partner in the CIRCLE program. So what is CIRCLE? It is an unarmed response program that deploys trained teams to address non-urgent, kind of lower-level calls related to unhoused individuals. The program also conducts follow-up outreach and connections to services. And it started as a pilot program in January 2022 in Hollywood and Venice, and it's since expanded. And we started in the harbor area, covering all of the harbor police division in February. So we're excited to come and share more information about it with you so that you can use it and be aware and tell your friends and neighbors. If you could scroll to the next. Oh, sorry. Oh, you're on double duty. Okay. You know what? I printed them out so I can also. Okay. So let's take a step back. So what's the point of the program? Why did we embark on this journey? Well, because we saw that unhoused individuals in our communities are often the folks that interact with our law enforcement most frequently. And they kind of cycle through our criminal justice system. And so we thought, why don't we try to interrupt that and minimize those interactions where appropriate and try to create stable and positive outcomes by deploying teams that are trained to interact with the unhoused community and who are connected to the wider homeless services system, so that hopefully we can get to more long-term, sustained positive outcomes. And very importantly, we can free up some of the time of our officers who we've asked to address so many things in our society and on our streets. We can free up some of their time and we can be their partner and they can pull us in when it's not really, within their scope. So that was the point of the program. So when we're talking about taking calls, taking 911 incidents away from our LAPD partners, what are we talking about here? If you could scroll the next slide whenever you have a chance. So we're talking about incidents that they involve unhoused people, so that's one of the main things that we're doing here. That's the population we're serving. They are not criminal, they're not violent, and they're not medically urgent. Those are going to go to other folks. What we're talking about here are things like well-being checks, requests for assistance. So you may see someone, I've seen this before, and I actually called the program. I was in downtown, not 9 p.m., really cold outside. Someone's in the fetal position right by City Hall, and they were wearing a tank top and shorts. And I thought, it's going to be really cold tonight. I wish someone could come out and just talk to this person, maybe get them into shelter if that's possible, or maybe just give them a blanket or a pair of pants or something like that, right? So I called, and I'll talk about what that experience is like calling. But that's an example of where the program can step in and arrive. Another example is clothing again, lack of adequate clothing. Sadly, you guys have probably all seen someone on our streets who is not trying to be lewd, they're not trying to flash anybody, they just don't have adequate clothing. And the teams have clothing, they're ready to respond with that resource. Loitering is a really big one. Someone's outside of, your business or something like that, and it's kind of causing some angst with your customers. And so you want someone to come out. The teams can address that. They can come with compassion, with no judgment, and they can ask the person to move along and start building that rapport, and get them to, move along and de-escalate the situation, right? Noise complaints, disturbances, things like that. Someone's yelling on the corner. Someone's playing loud music from an encampment. Someone's under the influence of a substance, and syringe disposal. So those are some examples of kind of the quality of life type of issues. We're not talking about anything that's going to be lights and sirens normally. It's these lower level things that our teams can address because the teams are really unarmed. So that's why we ask that you access the program through LAPD's non-emergency line, which is 877-ASK-LAPD, and you select the non-emergency police dispatch option. And basically that gets you to an operator over at 911 Communications who's going to ask you a series of questions to make sure that it's appropriate for the Circle program. So the example of me calling the program, I got through pretty quickly. I was grateful for that. And they asked me, what's the situation? I described, there's a person lying on the ground, fetal position, it's cold outside, I would like Circle. You don't even need to say Circle because the operators know about the program, so they're going to assess regardless. But I said, could I get Circle out here? And they had me explain where exactly. So cross streets, north, east, southwest, all that. What's the person wearing? Try to get a description of them. And then they start asking me, does this person have a weapon? Are they dangerous? And that's exactly what we want to know because, again, the teams are not armed. So if we're going to send them out, we want to make sure it's safe. And that was the conversation. And so I got off the line with the operator, and they sent it over to Circle. And then Circle responds. So we can move on to the next slide. I kind of just went through this. So if the team shows up and let's say when I called, the guy wasn't armed when I called. Let's say the team shows up and for some reason all of a sudden it's revealed that he has a weapon and he's, upset or whatever. And it's dangerous. The team is going to refer that back to 911 and say, hey, this is outside of our scope. We're not going to try to be heroes today. We're going to call in our partners. Or if they arrive and they realize, oh my gosh, this man is really not well, we need EMS. We need someone, we need an ambulance here to do a medical assessment. So they're going to do that. Okay, so let's quickly go through I'm going to speed through this because it's a lot. Let's just go through the program components. So there's 4 components. There's the call center, there's response teams, there's support teams, and there's a decompression center. The call center is basically what I just talked about. So the calls from 911, from 877 Ask LAPD get diverted to the call center. There's operators standing by ready to take those calls and ready to deploy the response team. The response team is a 2-person team available 24/7, and they typically a mental health counselor or mental health worker with a person with lived experience. The reason why we emphasize having a team member with lived experience is because they are able to really understand and connect with the unhoused people, unhoused community. They've been there before, so they immediately are able to kind of use their own experience to build that trust, which is really critical. And they have a van with the Circle logo on it. They have water, snacks, clothing, Narcan to reverse opioid overdoses if you come across that. And very importantly, for anyone who's really involved in the homeless services system, the teams are connected to our homeless management information system, HMIS. You might have heard that term before. But that is the database, that's the system that is used by all of our homeless services providers to enter their clients and to keep track of what's going on with folks out there on the streets. So if we come across, let's say we come across Bob, start chatting with Bob. Say, Bob, what's going on? Who are you working with? Are you working with anyone? Yeah, I had a caseworker out here before. I forget the person's name. And okay, well, let's look you up. And we can look up in the system and see, okay, Bob is working with Harbor Interfaith or whoever it may be. Let's ping Bob's caseworker. Let's update his caseworker that Bob actually doesn't hang out on that corner anymore. He's actually staying over here. And so we're trying to be the connective tissue between all these efforts. And if Bob is not already working with someone, we can help him, and we can coordinate with the larger service system. So we're not going to solve homelessness ourselves. I just want to be very real and candid with you. We are just one tool in this toolbox, one piece of the puzzle to solving the crisis. And so we really emphasize collaboration because we can't do it all. We're not meant to really do it all. And then the other component is the support team. So this is also a 2-person team, and they're doing that follow-up work. So let's go back to Bob. So let's say Bob wasn't working with anyone. We got started a housing referral for Bob. Most people, it takes time to get connected to a housing opportunity. So that's where the support team comes in. Let's say the other team put in a request, a referral for Bob to get some housing. The support team is going to do the follow-up work. Let's say an opportunity does come through. Oh, Bob got matched to go to a bridge home or what have you. The support team is going to go out and find Bob and say, hey, Bob, we got a match for you. Let's figure out the logistics of how we're going to get you in. And they can transport him. So that's just an example. But really, there's so much more. The ultimate goal is housing, but there's so much more that goes on around that. For instance, maybe Bob doesn't have an ID. You need an ID to do a lot. Maybe Bob is eligible for general relief. These are things that teams can work with Bob on and get him in on a more stable path towards a more stable journey. So it is about the housing, but it's also about a lot of the other things. Maybe Bob just really needed to get to a dentist. Let's get him a referral for that. Okay, so that's what the support teams do. And then finally, we have our decompression centers. This is a facility that I think we identified, but I don't think I want to make an announcement quite yet until we kind of move in, right, James? So we have 6 service areas now, and almost every area we have what we call a decompression center. That's a facility where the teams are based. They can deploy from there. And then it's also a space where they can bring an unhoused person back who needs to decompress and needs a break from the street. It serves as a great place when we are in a bind and need to make sure someone is safe for a little while. For instance, these teams are 24/7. A lot of other services do not operate 24/7. So when we come across a mother and child or someone with a physical disability, for instance, they came across someone who is blind, they're not going to walk away. And the decompression center is somewhere where we can bring that person while we try to figure out what's the right resource. How do we get them a safe place to be more long term? It's also a space where if someone wants to come with us, we can have a private conversation with them and figure out what's going on with you. What are the barriers or what's happening? And they can actually have a snack and water and calm down and tell us what's going on. And it really de-escalates situations. And then finally, so every area where we're operating has those components. So the whole program has one call center. But then in the harbor area, there's a response team available 24/7, so at all hours. So you have that resource. You also have a support team in this area available on the weekdays doing the follow-up work. And then we will be launching the decompression center soon. I think that is all that I'd like to say. James, would you like to come over and say anything else?
Real quick. Like Shannon said, we just came out here to this area. We appreciate the welcoming from the community. It's great. The team is out there 24/7 trying to get it done. Our secret sauce is our interpersonal relationships. We go out here and spend time with these encampments, with these individuals to let them know that we're out here really trying to help them. Like Shannon said, though, we support the documentation for permanent housing. If they need 12-step, if they need anything as far as mental health or anything to move them toward permanent housing, we're going to try our best to get it done for them. But a lot of times we know ourselves from just interacting with the unhoused neighbors sometimes it's challenging. But like I said, we just stay at it 24 hours a day. And sooner or later, we're going to get to them somehow. Just checking on Miss Betty because the other team heard she was sick. Just checking on to see if she need anything, something like that. It's really impressive to them. Just knowing that we actually care. Like you said, Miss Betty might need a snack at 10 o'clock at night. She usually eat her piece of chocolate at that time. So we'll have a team member come bring Miss Betty a piece of candy or something. Anything just to get in good graces with them so we can get them to a better place. That's what we're out here for.
And then I think we can take questions.
Okay, we'll take questions from around the table first, and then we'll go from any in the audience. So I saw Melanie's hand up.
Okay, I have a couple of questions for you. So when the team goes out, the team's comprised usually of a mental health professional, right? As well as someone that is life experienced. Okay, because there was a couple, I explained to Lori the last meeting that there was a couple of complaints that the people that had come out for people in my neighborhood watch area, they had 2 different calls that Circle responded, and all that came out were life experienced people. There wasn't a mental health person there, and the person that one of them that they came out for was severely mentally ill. There was a lot of problems, and they just left them where they were. It just kind of gave them a bottle of water, made sure they were in the system, and left where they should have been taken somewhere to help them, to like decompression because they were severely over the top.
Thank you for raising that. So I think part of the challenge of any program like this is that we are the city of Los Angeles. So that's one thing to note. Our county partners, our supervisors and all that, the county level, they have the Department of Mental Health. And so I think in that case, and I love when people raise issues because this is a new effort and we need you all to weigh in and help us get it right? So I think in that case, we can definitely look into it. In that case, they maybe should have called our county partners, the psychiatric mobile response team, and had them come out and assess the situation. Because our teams, we're not authorized, the county won't, nor do we really want this power, but the county won't authorize us to do a hold. Right. So that person would have to agree to come with us. And we also don't take anyone to the decompression center if we think they can't understand where we're taking them.
Right.
Because that becomes dangerous.
To
for
think
everyone.
you're kidnapping them or something.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Something I'm glad to see too is that you have the syringe thing. We had an incident last year where there were syringes left outside the gate of Harbor Highlands Community, and nobody would come. I called and called. Fire department wouldn't. Police said they couldn't handle them. It was like a big thing, and they sat there. And it's like, a child's going to touch these. We know that there's drugs on them, all of that. And so a community member had to go put gloves on and get a Sharps container and just put them in them. But I'm glad to see that there's someone that's actually going to be responsible for this, because I advocated for that.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I always feel like it's almost like an afterthought. And syringe disposal, but I'm glad that it's going to be useful.
I saw Gwen's hand and then Vic.
Recently, there was an announcement from Karen Bass that there would be a hold on all hiring, and there's concern that there might be a reduction of budget in the upcoming year. Is there any feedback how that might impact this new program, new hirings? I hope that there's still something allotted so that you guys can progress and expand as you hire.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure you've all heard that we're heading into a challenging fiscal year. And I don't have any specifics at this time, but for this program, we do partner with the nonprofit Urban Alchemy. And so, yes, the funding does come from our general fund, and we have a little bit of federal funding as well. But they're not going to have a hiring freeze. So, and kind of partnering with the outside organization, there are many benefits to it. One is that they can be more flexible and not have to go through a hiring committee and things like that the city is going to actually, or has already implemented. But we'll have to see what the budget's going to be. I'm definitely hopeful that we will stay in the harbor area. I don't think we're going to contract at all, but I'm not sure how much we'll grow, but we shall see.
Thank you.
Vic?
Organizations, I believe it's like Rainbow Services, will accept donations of clothing. I believe the last time I checked, they said they would only accept brand new, not used. That would be given directly to the people in need versus being, say, sold in a thrift shop or something like that. Do you do that? And if so, will you accept used or only new at this point?
James, do you want to address?
No, we don't accept donations. They don't have to be brand new. No.
Microphone?
Yes, we accept donations. They don't have to be brand new for us to accept. Just wait for us to get our decompression centers, and we're going to pile it up.
So you're not ready to accept quite yet, or
we're going to get the keys this week. We move in. If I can get your card or something, we can do something later.
Okay.
For our donations.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you're welcome to email me, and we can get connected.
okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone? Kelly?
I just want to say thank you. I think it's a great, as I was speaking to you earlier, I think it's a great opportunity for people with mental health issues, especially mild ones like people with autism and stuff that maybe need a little twist of direction or something. So thank you. It's a great need.
Anyone else from around the table? So, two quick questions. Did I understand that your hours of operation are 24/7?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay. And that you have a decompression center identified, but we're not ready for the grand opening yet, or?
Well, in case anything backfires,
Right. Yeah, I understand.
But we can update you all once we have the keys.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so I'll take a couple of questions from the audience. And Lori?
Thank you very much. I announced at the last meeting that about the Circle program. It is a pilot, so we do need to be patient. So the fact that this is 24/7, you have 3 shifts of 8 hours. I think it was maybe Melanie's question, you may run across somebody who has mental health needs, but DMH is not 24/7. So my understanding from talking to you is you can hold them for only about 4 hours, correct? So we need to understand that this is still evolving, and they might run across somebody who is not going to acknowledge that, through assessment, that they need help. And so what will you do? Do you have to just, you hold them for 4 hours and you have to release them to the street, or I know every case is unique. I do know that.
Yeah, I think if someone's very high acuity where they would actually require Department of Mental Health services, we probably wouldn't even bring them to the decompression center because that might be too volatile, to be honest.
Would you take them at all?
No, I don't think we would. We would call the PMRT or kick it back to 911. But the Department of Mental Health, it would be great to get a representative out here to speak with you all about all the efforts that they're doing, because they are really building up their teams. They have mobile crisis response teams as well, and they're becoming more available. They've really leaned into it. So it's kind of like there's just levels of care that are happening, and we are, because we're not the Department of Mental Health, we're not the county, we're not going to address these higher level things. If it's a higher level thing and it's a violent or criminal situation, that's going to be LAPD's SMART team, which is an officer with a Department of Mental Health clinician. So there's different, and then if it's a domestic violence thing, that's going to be the DART team, and that's domestic abuse response team. That's an officer with an advocate. So there's different layers, and so we're just, we're trying to try out this layer, and yeah.
So, and you're very welcome here. I know when Tim McCosker first took office, he'd already been talking about the Circle team, so he's thrilled to have you here. The other thing is, I was asked from this board last month about data. Okay, if you'll be able to regularly report, where would we find the information to be transparent? How many people have you called on? Will there be a website where they can get the information, or would you send it to us? How would?
Send it to you.
Okay.
But just to speak on the data point, last month when we launched in February, we managed 106 calls last month for our first month, and most of those were loitering calls. And then the second highest type of incident was actually LAPD requesting us directly. So that's something that I'm very proud of, is that we work really closely with our senior lead officers and other officers in the field, so that when they get, if an operator is not able to assess if it's dangerous or not, or they're going to err on the side of caution, they're going to send LAPD. If we tell the officers, if you arrive and you recognize that it really wasn't meant for you, because you're seeing it, you're assessing it, just get back on dispatch and say, hey, can I get Circle out here? And so that's a partnership we're really proud of, because that's how we're getting a lot of our incidents lately.
Any other questions from the audience? Oh, okay. Yes,
Yeah.
please.
I just want to say it's a wonderful thing that you're. Sorry, I want to say it's a wonderful thing that you're doing, and I'm curious as to how many hours of training the program members receive before they're allowed to go.
Talk to the mic.
We have a mandatory 25 lessons before they can hit the field. It ranges de-escalation and all kind of other stuff that's needed out there on the field.
Thank you.
And shadowing training as well. And there's a whole array of trainings that are de-escalation, trauma-informed care, crisis intervention, Narcan, CPR, first aid, and then a lot of trainings that we actually get through the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, because we need to understand how to tap into their whole system and resources. So they do a lot of trainings on their platform as well.
For the training.
Cheryl, go ahead.
I don't have a website, but I would post it if I could. Oh, yeah, you guys can do that. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Thank you for that. That's a
we
good
appreciate
question.
it.
Okay. With that, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here tonight. Really appreciate the work that you're all doing out there. Thank you so much, and stay safe.
Thank you.
For the students, to let you know, there's pizza over there. I ordered extra to make sure there was plenty for all the kids that were coming, so please help yourself.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead to move on to our next agenda item, and that is our homelessness liaison report. Wow, how appropriate. Just came right afterwards. Perfect. Perfect timing.
Good evening, board. Good evening, students. I'm thrilled that the students are paying attention. And thank you for asking a question. A couple things I wanted to announce is the CD15 working group on homelessness has not met for the last couple of months. They're on a break. They're paused right now to reevaluate that program or that group, because so much has evolved since that group first started. They're taking a look at what the current needs are and what the best way to proceed. So in case anybody noticed that isn't on my report. Something that's new on my report is called A Paycheck with a Purpose. Students, listen to this one. Nonprofit homeless service providers throughout the LA County are looking for qualified, motivated individuals to join their teams. They're looking for outreach workers, housing navigators, a wide range of jobs. There's educational programs. I know the county is working on scholarship programs, debt forgiveness, better benefits for anybody who's willing to go into this type of work. You do that type of work, don't you, Angela? Yes, somewhat. And Kelly, too. So if this is something that you have a calling for, there is a huge, huge need out there. One of the biggest problems we have is retention of social workers and case managers out there, and it's a big part of the barrier to having consistent solutions. So I wanted to mention that. A lot of my report this month ties right into what the Circle team does. So I have all types of mental health resources on the second page of the report. But I want to mention that poor mental health is both a cause and a consequence of homelessness. And what does that mean? That means that somebody might have some mental health issues and that leads to homelessness. But quite often somebody might not. It was strictly economic reasons that they ended up out there on the streets. I don't know about you, but if I was trying to survive on the streets, I would have a hard time. And so a lot of them do develop mental health issues. So I wanted to kind of bring that to your attention. And on the report, I have statistics. I'm not going to bore you with all that. I did want to highlight some of the services. And you know what? Maybe, Cheryl, I'll talk to Christina about adding these to the resources on the website that we have already. Most people know that the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, you can call or text to them. There's disasters, distress lines, mental health, substance abuse. There are some that people might not be familiar with, but the Trevor Project Lifeline, which supports LGBTQ youths. And allies in crisis are in need of a safe and a judgment-free place to talk. 211 is a hub for all types of health, human and social services in LA. The winter shelters were activated, and you call 211 for those. They got full real quick during the rains. LA Found, that's an emergency thing for people who have dementia or Alzheimer's, and they wander away and they get lost. They have bracelets for them to help find these people. And so there's information if you know somebody who suffers from something like that. And you can look through all these resources. I wanted to mention Proposition 1. So as of when I wrote this report, it was winning with like 50.81%. We won't know if Proposition 1 passes, I think, for a week or two because it's so close that they're going to have to count all the ballots. If it does pass, this authorizes $6.38 billion in bonds to build mental health treatment facilities for those with mental health and substance use challenges. And this is not a new tax, but it's a realignment and sort of a fix on the money that we have The county has been very strangled. In talking to Supervisor Hahn, they did not have the funding for mental health housing. They had it for the services. And we now know we really need a place to take people to. And not interim housing. We need permanent supportive housing for people with mental health issues. And sometimes that's a lifetime. So we have not had enough treatment beds for those suffering. And we haven't been able to spend the mental health dollars that they have. And there's money being left on the table with the county that if this proposition passes, could be spent on housing. So more to follow next month when I know whether the proposition passed. Last month I reported that the county supervisors were doing oversight on the LAHSA homeless count process. So I have a little bit of update there. They want to understand better how LAHSA is running the account. Taking a look at it, I happened to run into the head of LAHSA at an event recently, and she said they're very seriously looking at, is there a better process? It's never going to be science, okay, but is there a better way to count people, so you can look at that. I have a page on Housing for All Act with Congressman Ted Lieu introduced. I followed up with his office on that, and she kind of laughed. She said, really, we're focusing on just trying to get the budget passed more than looking at any bills, but I will continue to follow that one. I have a little bit of an update on the city master leasing program, which I've told you guys about. This really can help with some of the barriers to people getting, who have vouchers, to actually getting a landlord to accept their voucher. So I'm continuing to follow that. And with that, I think I'll stop. There was quite a bit that Mayor Bass has been doing, but since Jocelyn's here, better to hear it right from her than from me. So that's basically it, if anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Lori, for that report. We'll take questions from around the table or comments from around the table first. Gwen.
Hi, a little bit of follow-up from Proposition 1. So, yeah, it was a real tight vote. And there was some confusion with people that I had discussed as to what the realignment was. So the county, once again, just to make sure I understand it correctly, the county has services that they cannot actually perform on because it requires then directing that person to a shelter or a home that services their specific need, and that is void and not there. There's a void. So, do you know if it is the state that is going to build the housing, or the county will be allowed to build the housing?
It is a state proposition. Back when we first had Measure H, County Measure H passed, and then we had LA City, Proposition HHH, was really weird because HHH was for properties, but that was just the city of LA. And then Measure H for the county was for services. There's 88 cities in the county, okay, but only the city of LA was working on properties. It never made sense to me from the beginning. So now the county's saying we need to relook at that. We need some of that money. We have a lot of services out there, and we need the ability to spend some of that money on housing. That's how I understand it, Glenn.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from around the table? I see none. Any questions from the audience? Comments? No? Lori, thank you very much. I know you put a lot of time into this. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Lori.
Okay, we're going to go on and talk a little bit about agenda item number 5, and that's elected government and public safety representatives. I see some people here, so let's kind of take them as I kind of go across. Jocelyn, thanks for being here tonight.
Good evening, board members. Jocelyn Dominguez with the Mayor's Office. So I want to start out by just thanking everyone who came out to our community listening session that we had last week at the Wilmington Library. For those who don't know, we did host a community listening session to talk about the community safety concerns that the community has in the harbor area. So the Mayor's Office, or the Mayor specifically requested that UCLA conduct a research study across the city to hear directly from community members and collect the data as to what the city, what is needed of the city to make people feel more safe in their community. So we did collect that data during the community session, or the listening session, and we will be sharing what our findings publicly once we are done collecting. So I think they still have about 7 more to go. And they did mention to me that that listening session was the most well-attended listening session that they've done so far, which explains why they had us in such a tiny room. But thank you for those who were able to attend. I also wanted to share that today does launch the first day of 311 week. So the city is hosting a competition amongst city council districts to see which council district can improve their 311 usage the most. And just so you know, I did go check to see which council districts use 311 the most, and we are not one of them. And that's of concern to me because we need to make sure that we are utilizing 311 either through the app, through the website, or dialing 311 to make sure that we're requesting city services. And I just want to remind the board members that this is a crucial component when it comes to the budget and allocating funds, because it's a way for our elected officials to look at the data as to what services are needed in our community. So please, if you don't already, please use 311, and if you don't have the app, please download it. So for the updates for the mayor as it relates to public safety, on March 1st, she did swear in Chief Choi as the new interim chief of police, making him the first Korean American ever to lead a major city police department in this country. And also, last week, the mayor did announce that the Los Angeles Police Department is receiving an increase in applicants to their department. So in January, they had 1,200 applications to join the department, which is a 2-year high. And we're also seeing an increase in the number of qualification exams administered and the number of candidates participating in candidate assistance programs to support their process in applying. So great news there, because we know that we need to recruit more officers. I'm not saying that this is enough, because it's not, but the mayor is stressing the need to continue to recruit to increase our numbers. As it pertains to our state partnership, last week the mayor did lead a state delegation in Sacramento. So she was joined by Council President Paul Krikorian, Councilmember Bob Blumenfield, Councilmember Eunice Hernandez, Councilwoman Rodriguez, and Councilmember Soto Martinez. And while they were there, they did announce that our city will be receiving $300 million in reimbursements as a response, or reimbursements for our response during the COVID-19 pandemic. And specifically for our response with COVID-19, the Federal Emergency Management Agency will be receiving a reimbursement of $60 million. I also have some updates as it relates to sustainability. So the Department of LA Sanitation did secure over $400,000 in grant funding from the United States Department of Agriculture to increase our practices and reduce food waste, so making composting more available for our farmers markets, our businesses, to make sure that we are decreasing our waste. And then the mayor also announced today that LADWP was able to collect 13.5 billion gallons of stormwater. As you know, we had a very rainy couple of weeks, these past couple of months. So we were actually able to collect 5 billion gallons more than last year during this time, which is great. And then also last week, the mayor was in Paris, France, so she did lead a delegation there to meet with the mayor of Paris to learn from them how are they preparing for the Olympic Games. So I'm sure you all know, but the Olympics are coming, and they're coming quick. So she went over there to make sure that she's learning from them on how they prepared when it comes to homelessness, housing, business, and just see what we can implement here and making sure that we are in coordination with them. And then also, during her time in Paris, I'm almost done. During her time in Paris, she did announce that the city of Los Angeles was able to secure over $9 million in congressionally directed spending to continue to confront the homelessness crisis and making housing more available throughout Los Angeles. And this is a direct result of partnership between local and federal levels of government. So we were able to receive over $9 million in funding thanks to Senator Alex Padilla, and then Congresswoman Sidney Kamlacher and Tony Cardenas and Representative Jimmy Gomez, and a couple others as well that I think I might have missed. But those are all my updates.
Okay, great.
That's a lot.
If I can, the listening session on public safety,
Yes.
it was a very good event.
Right? Yeah.
And I was very surprised. No, I take that back. I wasn't surprised because you do it well. The fact that we had Spanish-speaking people were there. They were very active in sharing their information. I was glad to see another Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council person, Larry Eden, there, who was there along with myself, and I think it was put together very well. I hope that we gained some really good insights from that. And honestly, and maybe you can convey this to the mayor, I hope we continue the conversation as we go along. I think it's really important for community participation when it comes to issues like that with the mayor. So please thank her for that.
Of course, yeah. That's something.
Is there going to be another one?
Hang on a second.
Is there another one?
No, I was just going to add that you're not the first person to follow up with me saying that these sessions need to continue as we progress. So that's definitely something we're going to be conveying back to the mayor.
Great.
Another one?
Thank you. She said there. How many did you say? There's 7 others?
Yeah, I think about 7 others. They did about 7 already before coming to the harbor area, so they might have about 6 or 7 left.
Yeah, because I'm the public safety person, but it was the same night as my budget and finance meeting.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So,
it was very informative.
It was really great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll take a question from the audience as soon as anyone else. Of course, Gwen, you're next.
Always something. Jocelyn, regarding the Olympics budget, is there any discretionary funding that may be requested by each council district regarding improvements that might be associated with the Olympics? For example, in Wilmington, in the 1924 Olympics, Avalon Boulevard was planted with palm trees, which might not be climate appropriate now, but there was an entire colonnade of trees that was planted all along there in preparation of the 2024 Olympics, and it was a big thing. Could it be requested that a new revitalization of Avalon Boulevard possibly be done ahead of the of the 2024 Olympics? That would be a really great discretionary item. But there might be some in San Pedro that also have that kind of.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. And that is something that you can actually bring up to the council member as well. And I think he still sits on the Budget and Finance Committee. So that is something to bring up to him as well. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else from around the table?
I have something.
Okay, Michael.
So as far as the 2028 Olympics, and thanks to Mayor Bass and the 2028 Olympics, all of the programs that are fitness and sports related in the city of Los Angeles are only $10. So Peck Park used to charge $140 for a baseball league, which we are signing up for right now. But thanks to the 2028 Olympics and our mayor, everything for our community is $10.
Oh, wow.
$10 for
Pet
martial
Park
arts.
included in that?
Yes.
Because originally you guys weren't. Originally you weren't, Michael.
No, so that was a gift given, I call it a gift, given to Bogdanovich, Cabrillo Beach, and Peck Park. We were self-sustaining facilities, and we had to charge $140. Now, because of our mayor and because of the 2028 Olympics, we are being reimbursed, let's say $130 for every $10 enrollment we get.
Oh, wow.
So, yes. Yeah, thank you, Mayor Bass, and thank you for the 2028 Olympics coming to Los Angeles.
Thank you.
That's great. Any other comments from around the table? No? Diana?
Thank you. Yes, I have both a comment and a question. And my first, I'll do the comment, which is really directed mostly at the students. Are you all aware? She was talking about the 311 app. Are you aware of that, what that is?
Information.
The 311 app is an app you can download onto your phone for free from the City of LA. And you can use it to report things like graffiti, trees that need trimming, trash that needs picking up, places that need painting, all kinds of things that you can report. And, you're out there walking around and you see those things. And so it would be really good if you would download that app. It's the 311 app. And then as you see things that need to be done, you just report them. It's really easy to do. I use it myself all the time. So that gets me to my question. And my question has to do with the fact the reimbursement for COVID. What's the impact of that on the budget deficit?
Yeah. That is a great question. I don't have the answer to that right now, but I'm more than happy to follow up on that. But that's a great question. But I also wanted to add about the 311. We do workshops, or I guess trainings, I don't know what you want to call them, for 311. So please, if you have a parent group, if you have a group of students or a community group that you meet with regularly that you think could benefit from that, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to share that information with them and do a presentation. I've done them in English. I've done them in Spanish. I have the handouts. And I'm always open to sharing more information about 311 because it is so important.
And if I can just ask real quick, when does that contest end so that we can expect our reward? Because we'll be the highest reporting community.
You guys better win. No, but it ends this Friday.
Oh, Friday, okay.
Yeah, so you have till Friday to get those numbers up.
Everybody start dialing 311.
Yes.
I have some B's to report.
Sorry? Jocelyn? Yeah. Jocelyn, there's a request if you can give out your email address so in case some of the young people here and the audience may want to get in touch.
Yes, so my email is Jocelyn, JOCELYN, as in Nancy, .Dominguez, DOMINGUEZ @lacity.org.
Thank you. Okay, I think that does it.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for the report. Now, another city employee I see over there who is very good about reports is Mr. Octaviano Rios. Is that code for keep it short? No, that's code for being right on point.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Octaviano Rios with the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. I know I wasn't here last month, and I know I emailed you last week, a few days ago, with a report. So I'll just highlight some admin items as well as a big event that's coming up. I'll start with the big event. The department is hosting the first women's leadership event just for women board members and those active with the neighborhood council system, so committee members as well. And it's going to be held March 28th from 6 to 8, and it will include keynote speakers, networking opportunity, and refreshments held in person at City Hall. There is a limit of 100 guests because it will be held at the Tom Bradley room at the top of City Hall. So if you've ever been there, it's a beautiful, beautiful space, beautiful view, but not very big. So I guess you can call it an exclusive event. So RSVP as soon as you can. I sent you the link to register. And we are also asking board members to nominate extraordinary women that have demonstrated leadership in their activism with the neighborhood council system and within the neighborhood council. And we're looking for those nominations to be submitted in the next few days by March 15th. So big event March 28th from 6 to 8 at City Hall, and the other deadline March 15th for those extraordinary women in the neighborhood council system. In the theme of homelessness, we are asking all of our neighborhood councils to register their homelessness liaisons. If you haven't done so already, there is a link and a special form to register your name. I can't do it. I try to register some liaisons from other neighborhood councils. There's additional questions on there, so ask that individual that you've appointed to open that link, to fill out that form, and submit it as soon as you can. Now, the reason we're collecting that information is because the department is planning on partnering up with City Hall partners to host various meetings around homelessness. So we'll keep you posted on when those will be. Bylaw amendments, April 1st deadline. Just a quick reminder to submit your application. I don't think Northwest has submitted. No, you're not required to submit amendments, but if you are, just a reminder that April 1st is the deadline. And last but not least, just a highlight that we did host an NC President training in partnership with the City Attorney's Office, just focused on the Brown Act. So a lot of our board members and presidents were asking for this training. Unfortunately, they wanted to keep it, unfortunately and fortunately, they wanted to keep it nice and tight to have a small group just with presidents and the Neighborhood Council Advice Division to ask questions and really be engaged with presidents or their appointees if their presidents weren't able to attend. Now, many of you didn't go, but we do have a recording from, I think, 2 years ago, 2022, on just the Brown Act for board members on our website, empowerla.org. So if you're interested in that, I can email me, and I'll send you the link so you're not lost in the forest of very valuable information, but a lot of information on our website. And Mr. Chair, I think that concludes my report. Anything else that I missed or wanted to highlight, I'll email you folks in a few weeks. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Octaviano. Any questions or comments from around the table? I see no hands. Any comments or questions from the audience? Lori?
If you are the appointed one, yes. You should, yes. There's some personal questions there. Not anything extraordinary, but your gender, your age, if you choose to answer, you're not required, but yeah. I will, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we know she's retired.
Yes.
So, any other questions from on the audience? Okay.
All right.
Octaviano, if you'll hang out for a little while, we actually have an agenda item about nominating somebody for the 28th event.
Fantastic.
Out of our neighborhood councils.
We'll stick around. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. And nice to see we have a representative from Mike Gibson's office, Mark Fuentes.
Good evening, everyone. Just want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Mark Anthony Fuentes. I am the senior field representative for Assemblymember Mike Gibson, representing the 65th Assembly District. So it's very great to see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of new faces as well. So again, thank you so much, Ray and the board, for allowing me to take the moment to just share some news. I'll make it very quick. The Assembly member is going to be hosting a coffee next week over at Ojas Tea House. And again, that's going to be Friday, March 22nd, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. or 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Excuse me, that would have been too long. But again, this is going to be a quick legislative update from the Assembly member himself. And again, we encourage, the neighborhood council board members as well as residents of the San Pedro community to come out to that coffee to learn about the members' legislative package for the 2024 legislative cycle. Again, we've been pushing this out for a couple of months because we've been preparing for this package to be, done to share with you guys, and it's finally time. So we're really excited to, share this information with everyone. And I have a couple of flyers here. I don't know where the best place to put them at is here in the meeting. Okay, if anything, I'll go ahead and put it at the back table as well as a couple of my business cards for you guys who would like to reach out to me for anything state related or any questions you might have for me. But Ray, you had a question?
Yeah, if you have something that we can put on our website and things like that, please share it with us. So that
yes, exactly. So right after this meeting, I'll go ahead and share the digital version, so we can go ahead and share it if you guys would be okay with that.
That would be great.
But aside from that, that's all I have. And again, I'll leave some business cards in the front if you guys need to reach out to me. And thank you again for letting me give this update.
Thanks for visiting us.
Of course.
Well, let me see. Any questions from around the table? From around the table first. I see no hands. Diana?
That's correct, in San Pedro.
And the date again?
It's going to be Friday, March 22nd. And it's going to start at 8 a.m.
Okay. Any other hands from around in the audience? I see no others. Mr. Fuentes, thank you again for being here.
Thank you, Ray.
Appreciate it. I do not think there's any more city or other governmental agency people. I do know. Yep, I see Mr. or our senior lead, our favorite senior lead officer.
He's hiding.
Right.
Look at him hiding over there.
Real close with our new senior lead officer, Baloney. But I'm just no other electives, no other city, because now we give the floor to Officer Junior Nua.
Thanks for a wonderful introduction, Ray. I appreciate you guys. Like always, thanks for the pizza and the treats. I love coming to the Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council. Welcome to the San Pedro High School students. You guys pay attention. I may have something for you after my report. So I'll quickly get into, Senior Lead Officer Baloney just recently had a child, so congratulations to Russell. I'm taking his place temporarily, but they all know, even the younger senior lead officers, I'm there for them to support anything that they do in our community. So we also have your old senior lead officer here. You're treated with is Adriana Bravo. She's standing in the back, who was the Northwest San Pedro senior lead officer for many years. So I'm going to go ahead and get into our crime report real quick. It looks like in January, backtrack real quick. So in January we had about 81 incidents of reports of crime. And that includes violent as well as property crime. And how it's broken down to is in January we had 17 reports of violent crime, which include robberies, aggravated assaults. Total property crime, we had 64 incidents of property crime. Stolen cars, burglaries, grand theft autos, burglary, theft from motor vehicles, and things like that. In January, the biggest thing was thefts, whether it's walking into retail stores, taking stuff out, and the stores actually reporting them. So we know many of the retailers, they don't report everything, so those numbers could be a little off, but we will address the ones that are being reported on, and I'll get to some of the strategies that we're utilizing currently. So in February, we look at currently, what was that paper at there? So So far, for the report for February, we had 67 total incidents of crime. And how that's broken up is our robberies dipped. We had 4 reported robberies in January. We had 2 reported robberies in February. Our burglaries went down. Our property crime dipped in February. So we put in some things that hopefully will help mitigate those numbers and diminish the crime numbers in those areas. The biggest alarming thing when it comes down to property crime is our grand theft autos. So in February, we had 25 total stolen vehicles, 25 total stolen vehicles in Northwest San Pedro. And the area that's being impacted the most is reporting district 557. So you students, when we come down to recording data, it's easier for us to simplify things and put them in grids. We call these grids reporting districts. And so when we come down to strategizing, putting cops on the dots to address these crime issues, we can simply say, we're going to go to reporting district 557 because that's where we're getting hit the most. So we'll put in all our resources, whether it's gang enforcement, uniform patrol for extra patrol. If it's on a business corridor, we'll provide some strategies there as well. So in 557, that's where we're kind of focusing on. We have some overtime details that are allotted through Council District 15 and other means to get those that are off duty to come in to address those crime suppression efforts. And that's both in the business corridors as well as the residential areas for violent crime. So reporting District 557 is where we're getting hit. And the biggest thing, obviously, is grand theft autos. And we're getting hit during the time of midnight to 6 a.m. Midnight to 6 a.m. is the biggest. And I think the last report, Sundays was a big day for grand theft autos.
We're at 557 Street.
Okay, good question, Mel. So 557 is in between 7th Street to the north, 13th to the south, Myler to the west, and Pacific Avenue to the east. Pacific, Myler, 7th, and 12th. All right? So that's kind of what we're looking at. Some of the outside of those enforcement strategies that we're utilizing, we're also utilizing some undercover tactics to adjust. And we're not going to try to hide anything. We'll let the criminals know what we're doing because we'd rather them not do it because of these efforts. So some of the things that we're going into outside of the uniform patrol, traffic enforcement, we're also doing organized retail theft operations at different stores. We did the 99-cent store because they get hit a lot, and some of them escalated to Estes robberies. And so we operated there last week, got 6 arrests out of the 99-cent store. Also, we'll try places like North Gaffey at the Home Depot, Target, sometimes, but we have to get the consent from them. We need their permission to operate. But outside of that, we do other areas throughout Harbor area. The Walmart in Harbor Gateway, big call for service location, lots of numbers generated out of that place. So outside of the organized retail theft operations, we also do minor decoy operations where you utilize a young person who looks like they're able to purchase alcohol at certain establishments to see who's doing the right thing. We want people to do the right thing. We want them to say no. We want to see your ID. We want to know how old you are. By and large, most every business, they do a good job. And that's what we want. We'd rather not cite anybody. But unfortunately, a couple of days ago, we did cite some establishments. But that's a way we can keep tabs on who's serving our young. Okay, so, and then we do also massage parlor issues for vice operations to make sure, one, where we want to address human trafficking, identify any of those that are involved in that, kind of bring them back, reel them back in, and find services for them. And then obviously provide some type of consequence for these businesses that are operating in such manner. Okay, so that's pretty much our crime report. I'll continue to work through some of the problems. There are numerous abatement locations in Northwest San Pedro. whether it's abandoned houses, some apartments that are going through redevelopment and they're trying to evict, go through the illegal eviction process, and right now it's very tough for these nuisance locations to get rid of a lot of their tenants. So we're working with the city attorney and a lot of the private attorneys to see how we can support that process. And coming up, we have the Community Police Advisory Board, March 21st, that's Thursday, at 6 p.m. at Estimated Harbor Station. We're also going to be assisting Mike and his folks here at Peck Park, an International Day of Celebration, March 24th, Saturday.
Jubilee.
International Jubilee. We did have in February, at the end of February, a Cyber Watch meeting for any person, neighborhood watch member that wanted to or have interest in starting or become a member of. That was hosted by Bob Janess down in South Shores, and he gave a great presentation and a model as to how you can share information and data that could ultimately identify bad guys in the community, where detectives can actually have tangible surveillance photos and things like that to file a case against bad actors. And he has many cases where he's been very successful. So hopefully we'll be able to do that again sometime soon. All right, so that's my report, but I have a question for the San Pedro High School students. I have something for them if they were paying attention. All right. I mentioned a reporting district. You have to raise your hand. Be respectful. Raise your hand. Which reporting district was that I mentioned where we're experiencing a high rate of grand theft autos? You said, wow. Hey, was it 558? Oh man, you drove with the wrong one. You said, can you tell everybody else?
Is it 557?
Yes, sir. All right.
It's central.
Hold on. If my mic turned off, hold on. Why? Okay. And that's good. I'm glad Lori brought that up. So basic car 5 Adam 55 so this is Northwest. 5 Adam 55, which is this basic car, Senior Lead Officer Valloni's basic car, covers the RD 557. Just to make it clear that I know the neighborhood council borders are different. So I apologize for that, because I remember, I'm in Pedro. I'm back in Pedro. Man, it's like the Twilight Zone. I'm back. Yeah, I had the same issue with Central San Pedro, where part of Coastal was in Central San Pedro. You're absolutely right. So when I mentioned that, it's for basic car 55. So, but at least you got some knowledge as to what's happening around the neighborhood council. So I apologize. All right, but those numbers are for the basic car. Okay. So any questions? Sorry.
Any questions from around the table? I see no hands. Okay.
I just have a question about, you said burglary, like house break-ins, that kind of thing.
Yes.
We've had several of those, some of those.
It's pretty much all over the board. You talk about commercial burglaries, a lot of copper wire thefts, and things like that. There isn't really any primary mode of operation when it comes down to certain residential burglaries. How many of you guys follow crimemapping.com? Lori, Melanie does. Okay, so you can get a pretty accurate picture there as to what's residential, what's commercial. So if you take a look at that, but Melanie may know those numbers, although they're police-driven numbers, many of our cases sometimes get reclassified.
Yeah.
Right? So some of the numbers may not be accurate, but for the most part, it'll tell you the story as to why the police responded and if a report number was generated. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Gwen.
So for the youth here, can you tell them how to report a crime that, I mean, like a theft or something like that, if their bike was stolen or if some tools were stolen from their parents or theirs? How can they go ahead and do an online report?
Absolutely.
And how important is that?
Great question. So the first part of the question is how to report a crime. Whether you're a crime or say your parents, like she indicated, you can always go online. You have to talk to the rightful owner of the property one. It has to be your property that you're reporting that was stolen. Okay? And then the second part is whoever took it has to have the intention to permanently deprive you of that property. He took it, he's gone. I have no means to contact this person. I think a reasonable person would say, hey, he stole it for good. It's gone, right? So you can get online, go to LAPD CORS, Community Online Reporting System. Put in those keywords. All right. It'll prompt you it'll give you instructions on how to file a report. What reports can be filed online? Theft is one of them. Okay. It has to meet a certain criteria in order for you to can do that report. And then once you decide on what report you're going to make, you click on that link, and then it'll start taking you down a bunch of different drop-down menus for your name, address, contact information, what was stolen, and a brief narrative as to how it happened. It also has the ability to download a photograph file of your property or any surveillance pictures of the bad guy. Okay? After you're done and you submit the report, if it's successfully done, it'll give you an incident number. That's your incident number tied to the report number that would subsequently be given to you. And that's what you'll use when the detective calls you to try to help you identify and get your property back. And if not, file a case against the bad actor. Okay? And then the other part of that question is, for everybody here, is that we all know that, again, going back to old school verbiage, it's cops go to the dots, basically. So if it's not reported, there's nothing on the crime map that indicates that anything happened there. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people, and to each his own, I get it, I understand there could be some fear factor, intimidation, or anything like that where people just don't want to report or have dialogue with the police. There is a way where you can report stuff anonymously, whether it's calling your senior lead officer, working through that process so we can get a report in. If anything else, we go off of calls for service. Put in calls for service so we know that when we run calls for service at an intersection, we realize how many times officers have responded there. And it's our job to identify why we are responding and what we can do to diminish those numbers. So reports are very, very important. Whether it's a simple attempt, you come out, you see your car ajar, the glove compartment's open, things have been rifled through, that's an attempt burglary theft from motor vehicle. It should be reported. That way we know guys are currently hit in certain areas. Okay, so I hope I answered your question.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Any questions from the audience? Comments? No? Officer Newell, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you guys very much. Good seeing you guys all again. Appreciate you.
Okay, that closes out agenda item number 5. We're going to move on to agenda item number 6, which is our consent calendar. We have 4 items that we will be looking at. We're going to be approving the February 12th Board of Neighborhood Stakeholder meeting minutes.
Sure.
Also, there is a letter that we will be forwarding to the court, and it is to provide us with a 90-day public comment period, which is extremely important for neighborhood councils since we have a process we have to follow. So it's really important that we have that time to be able to do this. We'll also be recognizing Ben Norman's resignation from the Youth and Outreach Committee. And finally, approve the Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council pop-up and the participation of our members at the Peck Park Spring Egg Hunt from noon to 2 p.m. on Saturday the 30th in March. So with that, can we get a motion to
I would like to pull item 6D.
6 what?
D.
6D, okay. Okay, so we'll take up that one after approval of the 3, A, B, and C. I need a motion so that we can approve the first 3.
Norman Thomas.
Second, Gwen Henry.
Second. Any discussion? Seeing no hands up, let's go ahead and take the vote count.
John Barbera.
Yes.
Vic Christensen, aye. John DeMiglio.
Yes.
Larry Eaton.
Yes.
Cynthia Gunton.
Aye.
Gwen Henry.
Yes.
Melanie LeBrecq.
Yes.
Kelly Miller.
Yes.
Abby Norman.
Yes.
Thomas Norman.
Yes.
Ray Regalado.
Yes.
Michael Signorelli.
Yes.
Adam Stevenson.
Yes.
Angela Summer.
Yes.
All right, that's unanimous with 14.
Ray, is it possible to mention something about the egg hunt?
I'm sorry?
Would it be possible to mention something about the egg hunt?
I'm having a hard time.
Would it be possible to mention something about the egg hunt to the other members?
Well, we pulled it out, so we're gonna discuss it now. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at more closely item D, 6D, which is the pop-up and the use of it and participation of the spring egg hunt at Peck Park. You wanted to say something about it because I have your name next to it. You want to kind of talk a little bit about it?
Yes, it actually came out of committee in Port Environment and Sustainability. We approved as a group to participate in the Peck Park Spring Hunt. If this board would approve the pop-up and any other promotional materials, we'd basically get sign-ups from people regarding wanting to hear more. Use any materials that we already are have available to us. No monies will be spent, but if any other groups would like to participate in that, that was also part of the plan. So if you want to do youth and outreach, hopefully we can also, part of that was also to possibly promote some of the city services as well that may or may not be there.
Public safety,
neighborhood watch maybe, give a little more information or some kind of flyer.
Okay.
But hopefully somebody might want to help me with that and join.
I'll be there.
Once again, here's the flyer.
Okay.
I already told you I would be there, so.
So we need a motion to carry, but we're going to have discussion after the motion.
True, okay.
So if we can have a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Can I second?
I'll second.
John Barbera will second. Any discussion? Vic?
Yeah, I didn't see anything in the agenda packet about this, so maybe I missed it somewhere. But my main question is, what is meant by participation? What kind of expense is going to be required by
Zero.
the?
There's no money, she said.
May I finish?
Yeah.
Let Quinn answer this
It's
question.
always nice to answer a question that gets asked. What will this entail is the overall thing in terms of money, people, equipment, anything like that, because I haven't seen any details anywhere about it.
I believe that I sent in an email with the flyer, as well as the detailed description as I had just outlined.
Where did you send it?
Christina, I saw it.
And everyone on the executive committee.
Well, it needs to be in the packet. So is it there?
And Christina.
Are the minutes there?
Yes, the minutes were in.
She CC'd me on when she mailed it to Christina, so I saw it.
And yourself and Ray and Chris Valle and Christina. And Thomas. And
The second time the minutes have not been included.
yeah, that's the second time for some reason it wasn't included. I'm not really sure. I was trying to see if Christina had sent a response saying that she had not received it in any way. But I mean, the actual attachments themselves.
I saw it.
But I didn't see anything of that nature. But the minutes were completed, and the votes for that, as well as the letter that we just approved on the consent calendar, were all in there. That it was unanimous, except for one abstention, and that was Jason Herring.
So since it isn't in the minutes, how about describing what this is supposed to entail? I mean, it's
Once again,
I mean, we put a booth up, people are there manning it and hand out things, or what does it mean?
Once again, what I just said was that we would do the pop-up, and that some of us would be participating from 12 to 2. And the intention would be to promote the different committees, that we would not be using any funds of any kind. There were not going to be any expenses other than the promotional materials that already exist, and anyone who wants to participate. We have 2 members that would actually be doing and manning that pop-up, that we have volunteers already, and that is myself and Melanie.
Okay. Any other comments, questions for Gwen? I see no other questions.
Can I mention one more thing? And Vic, this was attempted to be sent through Youth and Outreach prior to this, and it was on their agenda, but they didn't have quorum. So it was then sent through Port Environment and Sustainability.
Okay.
I have a comment.
Okay.
I have the email right here. It was sent. Her minutes are here. There's a flyer. There's everything all sent. It just didn't end up in the agenda packet. So she did what she was supposed to do. It was all sent in.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions, comments?
Sounds nice.
Come on down, Larry.
Sounds, and if I can, I will. Thank you. I think that's very thoughtful. That's what I think.
Let's go ahead then and take the vote count on this.
Okay, John Barbera.
Yes.
Vic Christensen, aye. John Demiglio.
Yes.
Larry Eaton.
Yes.
Cynthia Gagne.
Yes.
Gwen Henry.
Yes. Sorry, yes.
Melanie LeBrecq.
Yes.
Kelly Miller.
Yes.
Abby Norman.
Yes.
Thomas Norman.
Yes.
Ray Regalado.
Yes.
Michael Signorelli.
Abstain.
Adam Stevenson.
Yes.
Angela Sumner. Okay, that's 13 ayes and 1 abstention.
Okay, it passes. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to move on to item number 7, and that is motions. We're going to start off with budget and finance, and that's where we have Melanie.
Okay. I apologize. There's a lot. So the first is the MER, which y'all can find on. Huh? Yeah, it is.
It shows it on the agenda that way, too.
All of it's out of committee. Everything's out of committee this time, so yay. So on page 12 is the MER. And it shows net available $23,394.09. So this is out of committee. Any discussion? Okay, so call for the vote. Thomas?
Aye.
John Barbera?
Aye.
Victor?
Aye.
Ray?
Yes.
John Demiglio?
Yes.
And which training is he missing? Which one? Huh? The what? Yeah, all of it has to be done to do funding, voting. So once you get that done, then you'll be able to vote. Cynthia?
Yes. Yes.
Cynthia?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Adam?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Angela? Yes. And Michael?
Yes.
Alrighty. The next is the budget on the next page, on page 14. And the same $23,394.09. This is also out of committee. Any discussion? Call for the vote. Thomas?
Aye.
John? Barbera?
Aye.
Vic?
Aye.
Ray?
Yes.
John DeMeglio?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Angela?
Yes.
And Michael?
Yes.
Okay. Next item is the approved $60 for REMA paper for the mailroom, because we've gone through all of our paper and we need to resupply it for Christina. This is also out of committee.
A box.
A big box for 10 reams of paper. Any discussion? So, call for the vote. Thomas?
Aye.
John Barbera?
Aye.
Vic Christensen?
Aye.
Ray?
Yes.
John DeMeglio?
He has left.
He left?
As of 7:40, he left.
Yeah, that's what I have as well.
Okay.
And he did let me know ahead of time, so that isn't excused.
Okay. Cynthia?
Yes.
Adam Stevenson?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Angela?
Yes.
And Michael?
Yes.
Okay, next item is going to be allocation of $300 for the PAIP First Thursday outreach event. That is going to be held on First Thursday to get people to leave comment regarding the PIP excess funding that they have for people to have input on. It's for sodas, printing, coffee, tea, and snacks. At a committee, so any discussion on that?
What is it again?
The port accessibility, the money for people to put in their input on how the money should be spent.
Let me help you. A few years ago, we did a survey going out into the community. In this case, on First Thursday, and talked to the community about it's the public access investment plan that comes from monies from the Port of Los Angeles. There's an investment that goes back into the community. They are requesting input as to where some of that money can go. So we are going to provide them public input from our neighborhood council, given the survey that will be taking place on First Thursday in April with some of our people around the table who are going to go out there and get input from the people once again, so that we can provide that to the Port of Los Angeles.
Thank you. Yeah, it's to have a room that they can come into and give input and get snacks and soda or whatever when they come in, and kind of invite them into.
I think the important piece is that there are going to be specific graphics that will show people coming in and identifying what it is exactly we're talking about. So there will be need to purchase some of these graphics and other support documents so people can understand.
Okay. So, what? Budget and finance. So, it came out of the Port, though. So, call for the vote. Thomas?
Aye.
John Barbera?
Aye.
Victor?
Aye.
Ray?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Aye.
Adam?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Angela?
Yes.
And Michael?
Yes.
Okay. Next item is, okay, you'll see an email here that it kind of explains on page 16 regarding basically what this was the request from the city clerk's office, from our funding rep. The contract that Cheryl uses for her minutes their contract expired. And so now they need verbalization vote count from us to say, yes, we're going to continue to use at work as the contract to pay Cheryl. So we as a board have to vote on that. So this is out of committee. So any discussion? Okay, so Thomas?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Victor?
Aye.
Ray?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Angela?
Yes.
And Michael?
Yes.
Okay, let's see, move on down. And so because we've been doing such a wonderful job gathering signatures, our constant contact price has gone up monthly. And so Christina's paying out of pocket. So our monthly fee needs to go up to $395 instead of $390, so she is not paying out of pocket going forward. This is out of committee. Any discussion?
Quick question. For the part that she's paid out of pocket, will she be reimbursed?
I think she should at a later date. She hasn't asked for it, but I'm going to suggest it. So probably next month we'll come back with a reimbursement cost for this. But for right now, moving forward, she's going to be paid at a higher rate. Gwen?
Just out of curiosity, how many emails are being sent out for the $395 price?
I think the limit was, what did she tell me, was 2,000 that it could do for what we were paying, and now we're up to like 3,000 or 4,000, something like that. So we've got to go to like the next tier.
Thank you.
So, any more questions? So, Thomas?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Victor?
Aye.
Ray?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Aye. Aye.
Adam?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Angela? Michael?
Yes.
Okay, now we get into the nitty-gritty here. So, on the website, I didn't have Christina print it because we're running out of paper. And it was too much to print. On the website, the grants are all up there for you to look at. But here in your packet on page 18, 19, and 20, this was very involved. John and Vic were very much involved as a committee with this. It was tedious to go through this. We had 17 applications. And a lot of the applications had missing signatures. A lot of it, too, people are asking to pay professional fees for their staffing, things like that. We cannot, on an MPG, pay for any professional fees, staffing, or any type of wages, any of that. That can't be involved in the grant. It has to be a project. We had 2 grants tossed out, and they had to revise it in order to give them to them last year because they had that involved. I think what needs to happen next year's on the grant process application is state that on it, that you can't have staffing fees, professional fees, any of that involved in the grant.
Just need to tell people not to fill out 5 Bs. Never put anything in.
Well, that too.
That's where that ends up.
That's where that ends up. And also when they put it on their budget, that's what the grant's going to be used for. That's a problem too. So that kind of eliminated several of them when you've got 17 applications to go through. So we weighed in which ones would benefit the Northwest San Pedro community the most. Which ones would benefit 100% Northwest San Pedro as our grants are supposed to be set up by. So going through them, we determined that these are the grants that fit for our $6,000 that we had to allocate. So the first one is a motion for $1,000 to Angels Gate Many Winners Gathering of Elders. This is out of committee, so any discussion? Okay, I'm going to call for the vote. Thomas Norman.
Aye.
John Barbera.
Aye.
Vic Christensen.
Aye.
Ray Regalado.
Yes.
Let's see. Cynthia.
Yes.
Adam Stevenson.
Yes.
Gwen Henry.
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly Miller.
Yes.
Angela Sumner. Yes. Michael Signorelli.
Yes.
Okay. The next one is $1,000 for Meals on Wheels. Huh?
Can I make a quick comment? Sure.
Meals.
Hi, my name is Emma Ralt. I'm here representing the Many Winters Gathering of Elders. And first of all, I just wanted to thank you all for your continued support of the gathering. It means a lot. And I just wanted to encourage everyone here, including people who may not have heard of the gathering, to come. So the Many Winters Gathering of Elders is a 4-day intertribal gathering that takes place at Angels Gate Cultural Center. And it is free and it's accessible to the public. So this is an event that is by and for the indigenous community of the greater LA area, and Native elders actually come from all over the country to share teachings and cultural practice. And it is also open to the public, so it's an opportunity to learn more about the indigenous present of this country, about activism that indigenous culture bearers are undertaking, and about the vibrant indigenous community that we have here in Los Angeles, which is home to more than 150,000 indigenous people. So it's the largest indigenous hub in the country. So we're really lucky here in San Pedro to have this event. It's an incredibly beautiful and sacred space to gather, and it's an opportunity to really participate in cultural events that are often closed to the public. So I would really encourage everybody here to come. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to approach me.
Thank you, Emma.
Yeah, so I believe this year it's going to be October 10th through 13th. So it's always a Thursday through Sunday. Thank you.
So next item is meals.
Do you have a question?
Question?
Was my understanding, and I support what she was talking about, was my understanding to get this grant, your event had to happen in this fiscal year.
The money has to be collected for this fiscal year in order to, the dates for collection to put the money together for it, but the event doesn't have to occur. But they have to have the paperwork for, hello, where'd it go? It turned off. Oh, there we go. It has to, their paperwork has to happen. Their funds have to be procured for this particular time. Some things are not happening, like, for instance, Meals on Wheels is ongoing.
I understand.
But they have to put their dates within the period to the period of our fiscal year that ends.
Okay, I think that there needs to be clarity in the future. Diana just mentioned a group that did not apply because it was their understanding that it had to be spent, and in the past that was my understanding too, that it had to be spent. So just in the future, it needs to be clarified, please.
Okay, because I think the event, it can occur outside those dates if they have to collect the fund to pay to reserve everything up before that date. Yeah. Anyway, Meals on Wheels. This is out of committee. Motion is for $1,000 for Meals on Wheels. Any discussion? Okay, so Thomas?
Yep, another great program. Aye. Yes.
Huh? Yes?
Aye.
John Barbera?
Yes.
Victor?
Aye.
Ray?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Aye.
Aye. Adam Stevenson?
Yes.
Gwen?
Aye.
Melanie, yes. Kelly,
Yes.
Angela. Angela? Oh, I didn't hear you. Michael.
Yes.
Next one. Give him a minute.
For those who wonder what's going on,
You may want to explain why.
John, that's what I was just doing.
Yeah,
For
John-
those who wonder what's going on, John works at the Assistance League, which is what this next one is about. So he is recusing himself, and because of that, he has to leave the room until the vote is over.
Yeah.
Next time he'll know.
Yeah. Okay, so this is out of committee. So Thomas?
Aye.
Victor?
Aye.
John is recused. Ray Regulato?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Yes.
Adam Stevenson?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Angela?
Yes.
And Michael?
Yes.
So the next one is Taper Elementary for their science program, their STEM program. This is out of committee also. Any discussion?
First, we need to get John back.
Huh? Oh, John. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do we not?
Come on back.
It's getting cold up there. It's freezing.
We're on to Taper Elementary. So the motion is $1,000 for Taper Elementary. Any discussion on that? Okay, Thomas?
Aye.
John Barbera?
Yes.
Victor?
Aye.
Ray Regulato?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Aye.
Adam?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Angela? Michael?
Yes.
Okay. The next one is $1,000 for San Pedro Skate Park. Any discussion? Huh? Yeah, the San Pedro Skate Park, they're doing, completing the mural project for the skate park that they're doing and beautification, the rest of the beautification of it. So the $1,000 will go to help that.
Most of you know where the skate park's at, right?
But like, yeah. So, Thomas?
Aye.
John Barbera?
Yes.
Vic Christensen? Ray?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Aye.
Adam?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Angela?
Yes.
And Michael?
Yes.
The next one is $500 to LA Maritime Institute. Yeah. Uh-huh. I'm a little disappointed and wondered why only $500 to the Maritime Institute, unless that's all the money they asked for. That's an amazing organization that supports educational programs for our underserved youth and the top sale programs. I'm just wondering why only $500 when you gave $1,000 to all the others. Because we were caught between them and International Bird Rescue, and I don't understand why you only give $500 to them either. So because we only had $6,000 that was allocated. You have remaining funds, then you guys could make a motion to use some of those remaining funds.
I appreciate the question, but we really got to get through the agenda, and we can improve. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. So this is $500 for Lammy. This is out of committee. Thomas?
Aye.
John Barbera?
Yes.
Victor?
Aye.
Ray?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Angela?
Yes.
And then Michael.
Yes.
The next one is International Bird Rescue. This is out of committee. $500. Thomas Norman.
Aye.
John Barbera.
Yes.
Vic Christensen.
Aye.
Ray Regalado.
Yes.
Cynthia.
Yes.
Adam Stevenson.
Yes.
Gwen.
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly.
Yes.
Angela. Michael Sangarelli.
Yes.
Okay, so that's it for those.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next piece on this area, on this section of the agenda, and that's for public safety. Melanie?
Okay. Gwen, I'm going to have you help me on this one part if there's any questions.
And let me remind you that we're running low on time.
Yeah, I know,
So
I
we're going
know.
to have to try to move this agenda forward.
So this motion is, these are all backwards. I'm sorry. So this is on page 28. And this is a letter and a council file to the Air Support Division, Los Angeles Police Department audit. There is a 63-page audit page that was a file that was up on the website that you could look at, as well as there's a copy laying there, and there's one for the board here. John and Kelly have a couple of copies. But it was an audit done by Kenneth Mija, who's our city controller. And with that being said, this is a letter that we put together and a community impact statement, and we found a lot of problems with the controller's audit that he did because the data wasn't raw. It wasn't actually accurate. It seemed like it was grabbing for little things, but nothing confirmed data. And so we pulled up some of the stuff and found a lot of the data that was conflicting. And we're asking for things. This is a neutral. We aren't supporting, nor are we against. We want him to correct a lot of things in it. We want him to do a better job of getting the things that they need, like a proper file log to log what their flight and all that is, versus just throwing numbers around and using actual comparisons that make sense rather than just throwing numbers out there. So this is our letter. It's out of committee. Do I have any discussion? Okay, none? All right. Well, that being said, I want to call for the vote. Like I said, this is being sent as a neutral CIS, asking for fixes. So, Thomas?
Aye.
John Barbera?
Aye.
Victor?
Aye.
Ray?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Aye.
Adam?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Angela?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Great, thank you, you guys.
Hang, you got two left.
I know.
No, two people left.
Oh.
This is not a budget item, so you have two more people to get votes from.
That's right. Lee. I'm sorry.
Larry.
Larry. Huh? And also Abby. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm in budget mode still. Alrighty, then back to, let's see which one's listed. Okay, this is Council File 18183S9, okay? So this is regarding the Rancho LPG tanks and the railway. And that is on page 24. So basically, it says for several years, community groups and public have expressed concerns about the safety of the facility, of the transportation of materials to and from the facility. Having a city entity provide inspections on facility that transports these materials would provide a more transparent role in the City of Los Angeles public safety oversight role for the site. To direct the Los Angeles Fire Department to report resources needed to engage in inspections of the rail lines that transport materials from Rancho LPG via lines, and said report to include the analysis, consideration, LAB requires special unit, and how to do other municipalities with facilities that either store or transport butane or propane engage with their public safety departments. So this is out of committee. Any discussion? Okay, call for the vote. Thomas?
Aye.
John Barbera?
Aye.
Victor?
Aye.
Ray?
Yes.
Lee? Larry?
Yes.
Let's see, Cynthia?
Aye.
Adam?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Angela? And Abby?
Yes.
And Michael?
Yes.
Okay. And then the last one is Council File 231425. And this is regarding the emergency preparedness for program for senior citizens, to have more designated programs towards them. And so basically, we're asking them to instruct the Department of Aging and Emergency Management Department to assist the city with analysis of related departments to purport to senior emergency preparedness, develop a senior emergency preparedness plan.
I'm trying. Where's the page?
Huh?
Where's the page?
22, yeah. And that Los Angeles Department coordination with LODA, EMD, and other related departments, fire severity zones, and the Northwest San Pedro Council requests that the Emergency Management Department CAO also address the need for response protocol in areas with industrial facilities such as Wilmington and San Pedro. Concern has increased about liquid natural gas facilities and trucks in harbor area using this type of fuel. This concern emerged due to the recent explosion of a truck with liquid natural gas that occurred in Wilmington. It was a large explosion that left 9 firefighters wounded and 2 critical. This is out of committee. Any discussion? Okay. Thomas?
Aye.
John Barbera?
Yes.
Victor?
Aye.
Ray?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Yes.
Adam? Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Angela? Abby?
Yes.
And Michael?
Yes.
Thank you very much, y'all.
Okay, we're going to go to item C under this agenda item, and this is out of the executive committee. There's a motion to discuss and possible action to nominate a woman board member to attend the 2024 Empower LA Women's Leadership event, which is on the 28th. We need to be able to identify and submit the name by the 15th.
Can it be more than one?
Octaviano, more than one or just one?
Just one, I believe, but if you have more, indirectly they're going to get selected for admission.
What?
If you have more than one, that's deserving, I would submit them.
You would what?
I would submit them if you
Okay.
have more than one to consider.
Okay. So we need someone,
I so move.
well, do we have a person who is interested so that we could,
Yeah.
well, I can't guess who that is.
I think I would like to nominate myself and Gwen. I think that both of us have been on the board for 8 years and dedicated a lot of time, and I think both of us would deserve the nomination.
Okay. Gwen, are you approved to that?
I am interested, yes.
Okay. So it's both Gwen and Melanie. If by chance we are unable to take both, I hope that between the two of you, you can agree as to who will be the one to represent Northwest. Okay.
I say they box it out.
So as we move on this agenda, because we're running out of time, let's go ahead and we'll take a motion for the two nominees.
Second.
What? Mr. Eaton will be the second. Mr. Thomas Norman will be the first. Any discussion?
Just to clarify, this is a vote on both, not one or the other.
Both.
Gotcha.
So, any other questions? Nothing? Okay, let's take the vote.
Okay, John Barbera.
Yes.
Nick Christensen, aye. Larry Eaton.
Yes.
Cynthia Gagne.
Yes.
Gwen Hendren.
Yes.
Melanie LeBrat.
Yes.
Kelly Miller.
Yes.
Abby Norman.
Yes.
Thomas Norman.
Yes.
Ray Regalado.
Yes.
Michael Signorelli.
Yes.
Adam Stevenson.
Yes.
Angela Sumner. Okay, 13. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
Did we do number 3, approve the CISTF 23?
Yes.
One? We did for the senior,
Yes.
senior emergency.
You said
preparedness?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought we did the rail one, but okay, sorry.
We did
That
both.
one too. Somewhere along the way I blinked.
Give her some coffee.
She slips in.
So, okay. Look, I think the reward for either one of you or both of you is to come back to us and report what exactly you guys covered in this.
I think it would be neat to go, and we'll both go together.
Okay. The request is to come back and report.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
We will.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Agenda item number 8, President's meeting with the port. Mr. Norman.
All right. I'll make this quick. It was an eventful, good meeting, well attended. We had an update on the PIP. We'll be trying to solicit input as a Northwest Neighborhood Council on that at the next First Thursday event. So, great discussion there. There was interesting discussion on port rail operations, and in particular, what can be done for quiet zones affecting the port, our typical port police update, and just upcoming information on LA waterfront events. It'll be dark on March, so if you have things you want us to discuss, we'll be waiting until April 22nd. Any questions? Oh, I went too quickly. I was trying to go quick in the interest of time.
Well.
Oh, go ahead.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
So I hope that the PAIP.
Tom, turn the mic this way.
She's going to talk about it.
Yeah, I know, but it was just at the March 30th event. I hope that the survey that is in relation to that will also be, somebody might be attending the Spring Egg Hunt and might want to gather some data on that from the community. That's all.
Okay. Thank you for that, Thomas. Let's go ahead and move on to agenda item number 9. We're going to take, these are committee reports, and so we're going to start off with I know, I see you. I see you. We're going to start off with planning and land use. Diana?
I thought maybe you hadn't noticed
no,
until I'd left. The main update from planning and land use was with regard to the PAIP, and you've heard a little bit of it already. And you may recall there will be approximately $62 million available for the waterfront public access projects in San Pedro over the next 5 years. And so when we start talking about the PAIP and our recommendations. That's what we're looking at for that money over the next 5 years. So what the committee decided to do was to look first at the connectivity plan. You may recall that the connectivity plan was an outgrowth of our recommendations 5 years ago. And the connectivity plan lays out a large number of projects for improving the waterfront over the next 20 years. And so the committee looked at the recommendations and then chose the projects that the committee felt were the most appropriate ones to be done over the next 5 years. And then we also looked at, was there anything else that wasn't in the connectivity plan that we thought should be recommended, including looking back at our recommendations from 5 years ago to see if there was anything we had recommended 5 years ago that hadn't been done that we thought still should be. And so we put all that together and then we prioritized it. And we came up with a list of priorities that are on page 34 in the minutes, 34, 35. Well, actually, the priorities start on page 35. So rather than read you the list, you can look at it later. What our plan is now is to take that list of priorities, and as Ray sort of mentioned, we're going to blow them up because most of them have graphics. So we'll blow them up. We'll display them on easels at First Thursday in the Brown Brothers building, and we'll ask for community input, and we'll ask people which ones they want to see, and is there anything that we missed that they really want to see happen in the next 5 years. So I want to thank you for approving the funds tonight to allow that to happen. And I hope that all of the board members will come to First Thursday, if you can, and participate in that process. In addition to that, Tom is going to do a survey with the same kind of questions and information that can be filled out online. And we hope some of our students will also come and help and weigh in on what you want to see on the waterfront. And so we'll have that. So there'll be two ways of giving input: the survey, or actually coming physically and see and participating. Then all of that will go back to the committee, and we'll put together our recommendations and bring them back to this board at the main meeting. So that was it. Thank you.
Thank you. This is hard work, I'm going to tell you, and the information that we're going to be gathering is really going to kind of point the direction of just how we can influence the port to come out and use some of the money that they gain. I mean, they make tons of money. There is a commitment that they're going to spend X amount. Diana, is it at least 10%, right? It's at least 10% of what they make. So it's really important that we give them guidance to how we would like that money to be spent. And I'm going to tell you, for you young people out there, if you have ideas, you're part of the population that we don't hear enough from. So if you have ideas how you want some of this money from the port to be spent, come out to First Thursday in April and talk to us. We really would like to hear it from you. So I hope we see you all there.
Where is that going to be, Ray?
Downtown San Pedro.
Brown Brothers.
The Brown Brothers building.
461 West 6th Street.
461.
Yeah. So, thank you for that.
461.
So, everyone else, please, quick reports. Make them as quick as possible. We have about 10 minutes left. So, the executive committee, I'm just going to say that the executive committee, what you see in front of you, the agenda and everything like that, the planning, that's our report. It's pretty much what we do and what we talk about. So there's your report. Budget and Finance Committee?
Just what you see is what we do. That's our report also.
Okay. Thank you. Public Safety?
Public Safety, just real quick, CPAD is the 21st where you can go to the police station. Also, Public Safety is planning a town hall hopefully at the end of April. that's going to encompass having Circle, the Captain Tragus is going to be here, and we're going to have a whole big neighborhood watch thing, town hall, about trying to get, it's for all of San Pedro, not just Northwest, to get the neighborhoods going and up and running, and fill in some of these gaps that we've got throughout San Pedro. So, so that's what we're working on right now. I'm crossing our fingers all the dates work out. I got to get with you, Michael, to talk about some open dates for the gym.
For
Okay?
here, this room.
For here, for this room.
Okay. Bylaws and Elections Committee, no report at this point. Youth and Outreach.
We got nothing right now. It's all on there. We got the newsletter coming. We're working on it, so.
When can we expect it?
I would presume, as we pass it, we'll probably, hopefully, have it ready by the end of April. Come out.
Okay, cool, great. Community issues?
We don't have anything.
Nothing?
We discussed.
Okay. Port Environment and Sustainability Committee?
Yeah, if we could have added to the minutes, the minutes of our meeting, added to the minutes saying they weren't in the agenda packet. Just wanted to put that on the record so the public can see those. And thank you for your support today for the letter request, the 90-day extension for public comment. That's going to save us a lot of time. 90 days is really important because these are big projects, and our neighborhood council shouldn't have to have special meetings to do that, so we're grateful there. And then I will be bringing to the committee for this month a proposal to create a joint port and environmental sustainability committee. We've had a joint environmental sustainability movement, but Coastal and Central invited me to a meeting last week, Gwen and I to a meeting last week to discuss that. So we'll be bringing that proposal, and it would be similar to the advantages we see from our joint planning and land use. We'd still have our separate Northwest San Pedro, but perhaps there'd be power in numbers. So we'll explore that and report more. Thank you. Anything to add, Gwen?
Yeah, thank you.
Good. All right. Thank you. The Christensen Science Center, we have an ad hoc committee.
No news.
All right. So liaisons, any reports from our liaison groups? We have Animal Shelter, the Department of Water and Power, Public Works, Film LA. You have, okay.
No.
Film LA.
I'm just going to talk. We don't have many films being done in LA anymore because it's too expensive, and they're making a lot of restrictions on the movie companies. So actually, they're doing a lot of things out of state and out of country into Canada.
Okay.
Until LA's changes, they're not going to be coming back here. And we're losing a lot of money because of that.
I had a question.
Well, I was just going to say, who has the question? Okay. I was just going to say, if you haven't had a conversation with Linda Alexander from Central, you may want to talk to her about what's going on out there.
Okay.
Because we just had...
Harold's was actually having something filmed there today. I drove by.
Yeah,
It was
locally.
a big...
We are, but we aren't having what they can do. I mean, they're taking a lot of their films and moving them out.
So, yeah, just
That was the head of one of the film companies that was talking about it.
Yeah, just check with Linda.
Okay.
Thank you. You had a question or a comment?
No, it was about local filming. That maybe there is a reduction throughout the city of Los Angeles, but maybe a more San Pedro and CD15 centric view of what filming is going on here. Perhaps.
Okay. Can do.
Thank you for that, Cynthia.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any comments from the audience regarding this? Did you have your hand up out there for comment? Okay.
They're getting tired.
Sustainability and
Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance.
okay.
Actually, Diana is not here. There are some interesting developments through the Trees Committee. The city is currently looking to change the planning and land use code. there is going to be much more of an incorporation of landscape with all new developments. And they're trying to come up with a methodology. So trees throughout Los Angeles. There are street trees that are under the Department of Urban Forestry. That's our city department that plants and waters them and takes care of them. But the vast majority of trees are on private property. And one of the problems that we have is that the Department of Urban Forestry had completed something called the Dudek report. They know every single tree in the city of Los Angeles. They know the species and its exact position. And if you go to their map, you can put a dot at any location and find out the species of that tree. And there's even like pictures. The private property is where the vast majority of our forest, our urban forest, is located. And it's most at jeopardy. So there were two state bills, so Senate Bill 9 and Senate Bill 10, that had allowed ADU units, and that's additional dwelling units, to be built on anybody's property. And they could dispense with all the EIRs and all this paperwork. The whole idea is for the state of California to build houses as fast as possible. What that means is that there's a lot of people right now who are chopping trees down and don't know about it. And what that is, that goes up against the livability of the city, that there are trees that are considered valuable because they have tremendous amounts of shade. One tree can actually reduce the temperature around it by 30 degrees. They have actually taken measurements in the heat of the valley, and then you can see a thermometer, and it's 30 degrees cooler under a big, giant shade tree as opposed to in the sun right next to it. So there is shade value, and it actually cools things down. It's nature's air conditioning. So the city of Los Angeles recognizes that there's climate action that the city is responsible for in preparing the city for climate change, to keep it cool. There's not only trees that exist right now that they don't want to chop down, but they want to grow the forest as well, especially in places that are economically disadvantaged. So right now, the department is going through and trying to figure out a way of getting all of those trees reported on private property, as well as cataloged. And then if any of those properties sell, or if anybody wants to do development, they have to address the trees that are on their lot. They may have to chop them down. Now, if it's a species that is native to the community, they may have to plant up to 4 more trees that are of the same species nearby. There's all these things that already exist on the books, but there's a lot of there's no accountability, and they're trying to address that. It's very complicated. There's going to be a session that our neighborhood council can provide feedback on, and so I do have to get with planning and land use and give them all this information. The first initial developments are going to be published in the next couple of months, and so we really need to put in our input on this. The other part of it is that buildings, when they're being designed, the developers don't really have responsibility for making sure that they put in the same kind of tree as they had before. They can build an apartment or a dwelling with commercial down below, all the way to the edges of the property, and chop down 4, 5, 6 trees, no problem. So once again, there are some ideas on how to ensure that buildings allow breezeways and livability in between buildings, to work and ensure that the trees do get put back. Have to do this. And so these are just some of the aspects. Now, there was another wonderful report that came out of West Hollywood. They've already kind of done this. And so, anyway, that's something that planning and land use should be looking at, is the West Hollywood.
I'd like to suggest that perhaps maybe this sounds really, really important stuff, and it's really interesting. Maybe we can arrange for a presentation,
Yes,
and
yeah.
get some.
They will be providing presentations as soon as it's released. Yeah, I will.
Yeah, let's think about maybe bringing them in and see if we can.
Yes.
And I have a question for you after the meeting about urban forestry.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, data liaison, anything? No? Okay. All right, it's 8:30 on the dot. We are through with this meeting. Thank you for being here. Thank you to the young people for being here, and we'll see you again April 8th.
What do we do about all the trees that are falling? They're falling all over the place. Well, my friend said the trees in San Pedro are like the people in San Pedro. What did she say? Unruly and uncontrolled.